So good evening and welcome to our second training session in the Introduction to Innovation training by the Kabarak University Center for Innovation and Business Incubation. We trust that you've had a good 1 week in the discussions. And today we continue with the course or the training. Our topic today is identifying commercially viable innovative ideas. Our facilitator is Dr. Joyce Moshere. She is a lecturer in our School of Music and Media. And the session will take the same structure as last time. We'll have an introduction. We'll have a discussion in breakout sessions, during which we'll ask you to also post your feedback on the question in the learning management system. And then we reconvene to climax the class or the session. And thereafter we take Q&A, hopefully all within 1 hour. So I welcome Dr. Joyce Moshere to start us off from here. Welcome, Dr. Joyce.
Thank you very much, Dr. Viga. Class, I take this opportunity to welcome you back. And I hope in the few minutes that we'll share, you'll be able to grasp something. Allow me to share the PowerPoint. Okay, I hope you can see.
Yes, Dr. Joyce, you can go into presentation mode.
Okay, thank you. Is that okay?
Yes, it is. Proceed.
Okay, thank you. So today our topic, as you have heard, is identifying commercially viable ideas. And we'll take some time to understand some of those terminologies so that we can be able to connect. A minute, it's not moving. Okay. So our session outline is as shown. You will define some terminologies, and then we will be able to describe what commercially viable ideas are. Yes, and then we will also look at commercialization strategies and principles on developing new ideas. So let me get to the, just a minute. Sorry, I think I've shared the wrong PowerPoint. Allow me 1 minute. Sorry. What happened here? Just a minute.
Daktari, your presentation?
I think I had 2 of them. This one revised, but then I'm getting the other one that I had. Let me just confirm, please. Okay. Dr. Diga, are we able to get the other one I sent on the, let me just open. Just 1 minute and we are there. There we are. Sorry for that. Okay, let me share.
Presentation mode, please.
Mhm. Okay, so we are going to define some of these terminologies. What an idea is, what is an idea? And philosophically, an idea is the result of thought or mental representation of images of some object, or a thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action. And how do we come up with ideas? We can come up with ideas through observation. When you look around, what do you see? You can be, a thought can be triggered by what somebody says. So listening is very important. For instance, you are facing some issue, or you have a certain problem, or you're discussing generally, and somebody mentions something, and if you're listening carefully, you will come up with an idea. It will trigger something in your thought that will make you spring into action. So that is one of the ways of coming up with ideas, and ideas mostly come up, they are prompted by problems or difficulties. And some of the assumptions we make in life, like something is so difficult. If you find like you're thinking that something is so difficult to solve, at that point when you're thinking like that and something like a solution, an idea springs up, then that is the genesis of your coming up with an idea that can turn into an invention or an innovation. So when we look at viable, viable is when you're capable, something is capable of working successfully or feasible. Synonyms for viable are achievable, doable, something that is doable, attainable, or practical. When we look at the word commercial, for us to understand that, it's good to look at commercial, the different forms, adverbs, adjectives. So commercially, it means in a way that is concerned with buying, selling, and making profit. Commercialization, on the other hand, is the process of introducing a new product or service to the market. And it entails production, distribution, marketing, and so forth. It's also defined as applying business methods or strategies to achieve profit for a new technology or product or service. And so there are many different definitions. One person here, Agajani and Yazapana, say that it's the process of transferring knowledge and technology for those ones who are in institutions from research centers to industries and new businesses. So how do we identify a commercially viable idea, or what is a commercially viable idea, in other words? something is just blocking my view here. I'm trying to push it up here. So it's when an idea is what's happening here? Blocked my view. I hope you can see it on the other side. There's something that is blocked my view, and I'm trying to get it out. Sorry, people. So when we have successful entrepreneurs or build business that solve problems or address. So does your idea, in other words, solve a problem? We take the case of M-Pesa, Google, or if you're a farmer, or also a researcher, you're coming up with the new breeds of seeds to avert famine, for instance. So as you look at that diagram, like you identify a problem, you define it, explore, then you take action. And again, it means you just looking back and forth to see whether that idea can solve that problem. Dr. I think I have an issue here with my computer. Students, I'm sorry for this. It's just stopped. It is not. So ensure that for you to confirm that your idea is, Dr. Dila, would you allow me to just share it, not in this mode, because I'm not seeing some things, it's covered.
That's okay.
Yeah, let me change the mode. I just present in the other mode. Okay. Yeah, that's better for me. Okay, so we are there. So how do you ensure that the idea that you have is commercially viable? I had mentioned that you ensure that the idea can be validated through user feedback. For instance, you do market research, you offer people, if you have a service that you're offering, you use the product, you can give that service for free, or that product that you have come up with for free, just in exchange for feedback. Remember, at this point, you are really not thinking about profit, but you just want to try out. So you're giving people that kind of service or product so that they can, through the feedback, you can understand their needs. Is it meeting their needs? And if this particular method is the most effective because it positions you before that audience or that market, the people who are going to engage with your idea. And then we are talking about whether your idea is scalable, that it can grow. For instance, can customers continue coming back to ask for the same service, or can they come back to buy? So take note of what would inspire a customer to come back for more. Assess the disadvantages and advantages of your product so that you can ensure it serves the needs of the customers. Then look at whether your idea has a deep connection with your purpose. Remember, you as a person, there is what inspires you. What do you want in life? What do you want to help people with? For instance, you've looked around and you've seen that there is an issue. There is something that has been, on your mind that you need to solve and be relevant to the world that is around you. So your business should address a cause that deeply connects with you. Otherwise, as we said, you need patience, you need to be resilient because there are challenges here. If it's not something that you're passionate about, then you can easily give up. So Purpose enables you to passionately pursue your dream amidst ups and downs. So examine your past, which reveals defining moments and strength, hence what your business will do. Are you offering something people can't already get? Somebody made, I think I read somewhere, somebody was writing that, are you going to sell sand in the desert? Or in other words, are you going to sell something that people already have? And so if you are doing that, what is the uniqueness of how are you going to convince them to buy the same thing, like selling ice in what, Iceland, the very cold places? Are you going to succeed? What improvement have you made on it that will make it unique for them to be attracted to it? So a good way to find where there is a need is to survey a wide range of consumers and find out what they are looking for that they are not already getting from another company, that which they're not getting from another company or service. So ask pointed questions relating to the product or service you are thinking about selling to find out if there is interest in it. So again, when you want to know that it's commercially viable, you have a great, make sure that you have a great team behind you, because it's not about your idea, but it's about the team. So you can get excited about a very big idea, but you neglect validating if there is a market for it. So the team will help you be able to, we have a team that will help you, encourage you. The experts that will advise you, maybe call somebody who is very key in that area and help you move with your product. So make sure that you have a team of experts or people that can help you, encourage you to move forward. And find out whether people are willing to pay for that particular service or product. And they are also willing to spread the word. So if they can pay, for instance, you can take you can test that product in the market and see. Maybe you can go to a supermarket if it's, can I say, a certain kind of yogurt you come up with, or a certain kind of cake or bread, whatever innovation that you've come up with or idea. If a few people can buy it, even if it's not at a profit, but it will give you that understanding that they are in need of that you've addressed their pain or their need. So that is promising, because it means your idea will grow. When that happens, you have proof of concept. So do research via social media and in-person interviews to find out if people will buy your product or your idea. Have you explored all avenues? You've researched, for instance, is there a demand for your proposed products or services, or what the market will bear and pay for, and what competition you will face? Find out if you have competitors, because if you are going to sell the same thing, and maybe you're selling at a higher price and your competitors have the same thing and selling at a lower price than you mean, it means you can lose. So get to know your community and be able to get into the market knowledgeably. Then you have to have run successful simulations. Simulations here are just replication, like if you see this particular picture here, this is a kind of house, but it's not a real house, but it's a simulation, an imitation of it. So it's an imitation of what you have. So you try out through that, and that is where you try out this option, see, does it work this way? If it's not acceptable, then you are making changes on that particular idea or innovation. So the choice of a particular approach is based on whether it is low. For instance, in producing your product or service, will it be costly? So you are trying out avenues. This form of, if I take it in this form, will it cost me more than if I take it in this form? So you have replications and then make a choice which one is low, that is suitable, that will not really make you spend much in production, because you need you need to make profit. And then does your idea make people talk about it? Does it make people talk about it? So you can start a Facebook page of your product long before it is it might be pre-ordered just to create a buzz and learn from future users. It gives makers the necessary time to make adjustments to the initial idea. So make it known, and then through that, people can get interested, and who knows, you become, I mean, that idea becomes what everybody needs. It is also, it's easy to have a great idea that others need, but do people know they need it? Is the need greater than their wants? So do they complain that they need what you are making, but this, at the same time, they really don't need a solution? So in that case, you're not sure whether people, whatever you're creating is acceptable. And we are told that our friends are the first audience, but they are very limited if you only narrow to your friends. So use this media to be able to get to the people, the customer, the potential customers, and also keep on testing your idea, and then you'll come to that position of satisfaction that they really need what you are making. So again, be passionate and resilient enough to go through it. I said earlier that there are challenges. There is nothing that you start in life that it has no challenge. So if you are passionate, resilient enough to live through that and learn from failures and rejection and start all over, then you'll be successful. Let other people believe in what you're doing. Okay, read the histories of more successful entrepreneurs, read the challenges. That is what will encourage you. And okay, so again, believe in your idea. Okay, believe in it. When you build from a deep sense of purpose and belief, you will share it passionately with everyone around you. So it is you are the first customer of what you create. So at this point, we are going to break out into rooms, and we are going to discuss a question. Dr. Diga. Dr. Diga.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. So participants, it's time for us to think about what our journey as innovators. I'm certain you have tried something, and that's likely why you're here. The point of innovating, in our considered opinion, is to be able to make money. So we'd like you to get into breakout sessions, which I'm about to assign you at the moment, and discuss with your colleagues in that room a number of things. One, want you to share with the team whether you've ever had an innovative idea. I really hope the answer is yes. If so, describe what the idea was briefly, and then did it succeed or fail? Where succeed or fail is with reference to becoming something that makes you money. Explain briefly what happened. That is the main lesson for today. What makes your idea fail or work? When you're done, go to the learning management system and just paste the same thing you shared with your colleagues there so that we may all learn from your discussion. We have 15 minutes for this exercise. So we resume at 5:45. And yeah, so I'm about to create the rooms. So proceed to accept the invitation.
A smart irrigation system works in such a way that you can remotely monitor your farm, turning on pumps, switching off, using some electronic devices like Arduino sensors, and using GSM technology to transmit the information remotely from your farm. Let us take, for example, your farm is in Kericho and you are in Nakuru, and you want to actually monitor what is going on in your farm. You can use the technology to actually monitor your farms, control what is happening, and you can as well use the idea to give you a lot of profit, especially when you are doing a side hustle as a farming. The process, the idea is still in process of, because I'm in the process of building the prototype and building the hardware. So there is a challenge in between, because it requires some financial and even coding some of the gadgets, coding, programming, and it requires more time. Thank you very much. Any question?
Thank you, B, for that idea. Alex, do you have a question?
Not really, I don't have a question, but I'm looking forward to see what the project and the whole idea comes up, you know. It sounds very interesting. So I'm looking forward to see what he's gonna come up with.
Yes, I'm also excited. So all the best to you, B, with your idea.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I wish you good luck with the whole idea.
This meeting is being recorded.
So I trust that you've had a good time in the breakout sessions. Let me ask one or two people to just share something that they also shared in the group, an idea, and did it work or not, and why? One or two of us before we continue with the presentation. Somebody, something that worked?
Okay, mine was about the greenhouse.
Yes.
We introduced it and we planted vegetables and they did very well. We harvested and it was consumed by our clients, the students. And at least it has compensated part of our budget, which we could have given outside to the outside customer.
Okay, so you implemented some greenhouse farming.
Yes.
Okay, great. Moses Owino, I think you had started sharing.
Thank you, Doc. Yeah, I was sharing what we did at the place of work where the biggest challenge was that it was a sugar company. We were thinking about how do we get the cane records in time, what to be delivered to the factory. I personally, as the team leader, recommended automation, and so that instead of each section having their own records, each section of the production unit, we had a centralized unit where then we would get all the units, and this quite improved work and people picked it. So even a process can be innovated. That's what we discussed in my group. Thank you, Dr.
All right, thank you, Moses. That's a very good insight. James, mine, I think your hand was up. Did you want to contribute?
Yes, Doc. I also wanted to share about an innovation that I had. I started about last year, and I was just thinking of different ways people can consume fish. So I was explaining to the people in my breakout room that I started making fish differently. So what I did is to come up with fish sausages, fish meatballs, burger patties, samosas, and in the market, the idea has been really welcomed by the people I've talked to, the hotels, and so far it has been very successful. So it's a success story for an innovation in the hospitality sector for me.
Wow, that's awesome, James. Anyone last one? One last person who has, anybody who failed. You thought you had an idea You thought it was bright, it was innovative, you tried it out and it didn't work. Renard Odhiambo. Odhiambo, Reinhard, your hand is up. Sorry, Reinhard, just unmute.
My idea was about making yarn out of old clothes. So what we do is pick up old clothes, collect them, and we remove, make yarn from the old clothes, that is, and also soften some of the clothes in making papers. We presented the idea at the HALT Prize competition held at Kabarak University on campus, became first runners up. We'll try again September. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. So allow me to welcome our facilitator back, and then we have a Q&A at the end of the session. Welcome, Dr. Joyce.
Thank you. So I think I'm glad to hear about your experiences, and that means that some of us, I don't know if all have gone through such, but some of us have been able to experience those challenges and already know what may be the next step to go ahead. And those ones who have succeeded, I'm happy. I mean, you are on the right track. So we'll go on to conclude. But remember to post whatever you have discussed on module. Okay, I hope you did. We are doing it the same way we did last time. So remember to post whatever you have. It's part of your assessment. So we'll conclude by saying this. Remember, there are challenges, like we've said. Have you succeeded or did it fail? And we know that failure is not the end. When you fail to do something today, when you fail in one, and I had said that you have to, if you are passionate about what you are doing and it's about your purpose, then failure will not be the end. You will rise up again and go ahead. So don't be shy to share your idea, because in sharing you learn, and you unlearn, like when you take your idea to the market to a few people, customers, and you hear their feedback, then you are able to unlearn to customize or to make that idea align with their needs, because you are trying to meet people's needs and not yours. So remember again about your new idea. Remember this: venture ideas are not venture opportunities. So an idea in itself does not promise. I mean, an idea is in itself does not promise it. It attracts business. It does not rather attract business opportunity. So testing one's idea in the immediate environment facilitates the identification of gaps and filling in the missing gaps. So testing gives a feeling of the market receptiveness and enables you to make informed decisions on changes or give up the idea if need be. So be patient and persistent in your journey, because it takes time and effort and resources to transform the idea that you have into what may hopefully become an opportunity. Also being prepared to invest in a lot of time and effort to propel the idea forward, and be ready for challenges in the entrepreneurial world. Take advantage of your human and social capital, okay? Your skills, experiences gained so far, and leverage the network contacts you have. The contacts that you have are the immediate customers or potential customers. So their contacts are crucial in penetrating the market. So continue. If you have not had or maybe come up with an idea, I'm encouraging you to think commercially viable. Now that you know what a commercially viable idea ought to be, remember, novice or those who are new in entrepreneurship tend to achieve novelty at the expense of commercial viability. You can have an idea, but it may remain at that point. You can have an idea, but it may not be profitable because of those steps that we have already described. So don't be just excited about an idea. Think about that idea becoming profitable to you and to the community. Remember this, an invention is an idea proved workable, but remains useless if an effective way of using it or producing or distributing it is not introduced. So innovation is when you go a step ahead to make that idea effective or functional, in short. I've just noted that innovation is equal to an idea's workability. Is your idea workable? Economic feasibility and fulfillment of a special need. So if your idea meets those, some of those, then it is on the way to being functional, profitable. So let your ideas turn into money. Do you agree? Let your ideas turn into money. And thank you so much. And if there is any question, you're welcome. We will strive to answer. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dr. Joyce, for that good presentation. It's time to have question and answers. You can post them in the Q&A, or you could just raise your hand and ask your question. The subject of our discussion today is exactly what is still on our screen today, turning our ideas into money. We've had the presentation, we've had a brief discussion, we've had some of us who managed to turn ideas into money. Now it's time for you to maybe ask a question. Have you tried? Are you struggling with something? Is there some ideas you need at this point? Remember, the point of this training is for us to be able to open up and get to learn from each other, not necessarily from the facilitators. So the floor is open for questions. So as we wait for your questions in whichever form you may choose to ask, in the chat, in the Q&A, okay, in the chat and the Q&A, we have now the discussion forum. What you have just done is an in-class exercise, and that ends at around 6:30. So make sure that the comments you made during the breakout, you post them in the in-class exercise session, discussion forum. Then the forum starting today until Monday evening next week is also available. And the question we are posing this week to jog your minds is, innovative ideas are not always commercially viable. We have had that presentation today. You could say yes, you could say no, but why? Why are innovative ideas not always commercially viable? Or why are innovative ideas always commercially viable? You have a position on the matter. Why don't you share it with us and let us learn what you think? I'm seeing a question here that if one imports an idea from another country, maybe developed from another country, and you implement in Kenya, is that innovation or is it replica? Given that the innovation is implemented successfully. Engineer Rotich, thank you for the question. Dr. Joyce, do you want to have a take at that question?
Thank you for the question. Maybe I would want to read the mind of this person, because what does he mean by importing an idea from another country? Because we are talking about a new idea that you're coming up with, but we also, innovation is about maybe making improvements. If you have made an improvement on a certain innovation, then that whatever part that you have contributed, adding value to that particular. So I don't know whether that is what you mean, because there are regulations. If you just import an idea from another country or take somebody's idea, then there are laws and regulations to do with that. I don't know if that is what you meant. Do you mean taking somebody's idea? This
On
is
the
Engineer
flip side,
Kid.
I could also mention that when we import cars from those who manufacture them and we paint those cars, we change the color. That's not innovation, as it were. We changed nothing about that thing. So if there is no change, if there is no improvement, then you've not innovated. You know, you've just applied it in a new context, exactly as it was in the previous context. So that probably may not be an innovation. You know, it just took and used. So what would be the main focus of innovations? To improve services, provide solutions, or make money? Why should you innovate? The ultimate, I think everything. Everything is a point. That's why you need to innovate. If you have one and not the other, okay, if you seek to make money, first of all, without innovating, then that's called business. So, for example, those who sell products in shops and etc., they're not exactly innovators, they're business people, they're resellers. But if you change the way in which you sell and use a different approach, then that's innovation. So the mere buying and selling is not an innovation. Probably the how. For example, we have online shopping. At some point that did not exist. So at some point that became an innovation because we no longer needed to sell in person. We could order online and goods could be delivered to us. So the point of innovation is to improve the way things work. You may improve it and not primarily for money, but ultimately it does make a difference. Either improves the quality of life, helps you to cut costs, even if you don't make money, but you cut costs, helps you to improve on the operational processes of an organization, which ultimately impacts on the bottom line of that organization. So the main point of innovation is to make a difference in the way people live, their health, their businesses, and etc. Making money is a very, very good thing. And we are really emphasizing that for this one reason, that a lot of innovators have this need to make money, and it is a very good need. But if you don't begin with the end in mind, then you're unlikely to achieve that end. Innovations can result into very great income generating activities, and that's really the focus of our entire discussion here. Can we transform them into viable, commercially viable businesses? Dr. Joyce, would you want to add your voice to this question by Kizito?
Yes, actually, as I'm listening, I can see you answering Kizito. And we start by, he's asking, why do we innovate, in other words? And I started by saying, innovations can be in different forms. And what makes you innovate, first of all, like where is where is your idea? Well, I mean, how do we get ideas or innovations? There is a saying that adversity is the mother of invention. Like when you are in a difficult situation, you think very hard on how to get out of it. So innovation could just be simply an idea that maybe that thought that you have a problem and you are able to solve. Maybe that at that point there is no money that you are getting. But again, innovation is about solving problems or issues in society. For instance, I don't know if you are conversant with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. One of them being to make sure that people have like about famine in the world. And you can start from your community. Do we have an issue of food? So what are you going to do about, first of all, yourself, and then the community at large? Maybe the issue was about there is no water in that place, it's a dry place. But then you come up, like I watched some video clip of somebody in Ukambani who used the community to dig, can I call them dams, to store water. And right now that place is green, has turned green because they're able to plant different crops. They can feed themselves and also afford to sell extra to get that revenue that they need. So in that case, that person has solved that issue of hunger and issue economic. So socially, people are now better than what they were before. I'll take another example of just an idea in terms of, is Harambee a slogan, or Dr. Ziga help me? Is it a slogan or what we call it? Harambee itself, the Harambee spirit. Somebody.
It means pulling together.
Pulling together. And so somebody came up with that, and you can see what using that particular word has helped people like in Kenya. When you say Harambee, people know that you're pulling together resources to help somebody to be able to make it in this area. So I don't know if that person made money out of that, Kizito, but there are many reasons why we innovate. But again, when you innovate, you want to come up with a business. Would you want to do it for free? So you can answer that by, you want to come up with, like, there are many ways of, I think I've given you, when you look at the module, you'll find 50, I don't know whether there are 50 or 30 ideas on innovation, like even just what you think about, like collecting garbage and turning that garbage into something that is productive. So you have elevated the problem of garbage, dumping in your area, and then again you turn that particular garbage into something that can be usable. So innovation is for different purposes. What is your purpose in life? Like, for instance, I said, you may be having that purpose to help people in a certain way. So you think hard and say, how am I going to help people in my area? So that area that you something new that you come up with to alleviate that issue, to alleviate that problem, or to improve the lives of people is an innovation, and it could turn into a business. All right. I hope I've answered you.
All right, thank you. Any other question about making money from innovations? There's a very good long submission there from Rotich Fred Ngeni. So do you have a question from anyone else as we read this contribution?
I think I can see John Rono. His question, I think, don't know if Dr. Thika, you can expound on this, but I think it's another topic we are going to, intellectual property, protection of intellectual property.
Oh,
Maybe
yes.
we'll be able to talk about that in detail, but that's what John Rono is trying to ask. I don't know if it's good to go ahead of ourselves now here.
Well, just a touch on that, in that domestication is a very interesting term, and it touches on what Dr. Joyce is saying, intellectual property. We want to break down what you mean by domestication, and in the context of intellectual property protection. In some scenarios, it's not possible to pick somebody's idea and use it or modify it without express permission. So depending on the kind of knowledge you are dealing with or idea, it may not be that straightforward. But we have a whole session there coming up on intellectual property protection. And I would like you to hold this question. Don't forget it. But I hope we've given you an idea there. All right, anyone else with a question? Thank you, Rotich. Okay, we take it that we are okay. So I'd like now to just inform you about, yes, Dr. Joyce, go ahead.
I think there's somebody who has written something here. I don't know, I think I'm looking at it. It may not be a question, but we can read it to hear what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Engineer Rotich Fred Ngeny. Yes, there are some ideas haven't been implemented on the developing countries, and yet are already working on other developed countries. If one gets one of the ideas working in our country in a slight different form, yet same, do we say innovation or business? Example is online business, which has been operating in other countries for the past 20 years, yet in Kenya it started nearly 10 years ago. Is this innovation? Another is Uber, which started time back in Europe, and now we have Wasili Taxi or Bolt in Kenya. Is it innovation or just business? Remembering Bolt was there before the Uber was officially launched in Kenya too, under a different name. Just explanation of previous question, so not new question. That is what he's saying. But I think, Dr. Liga, you talked about disruptive innovation. Maybe you could just summarize on that. Like Uber, when you're talking about Uber, or adopting something that is already in another country and just adopting it. Is it an innovation, really?
No.
If you look at what, yes. Mm-hmm.
Adoption is not innovation. The idea, whoever came up with the idea the first time is the innovator, then we adopt. It's like a car. We can't say we innovate cars. No, we don't. We just buy and use. But if we change that car in one way or the other, of course, that's not usually allowed by the manufacturers. But if we were to change, then that would probably be bordering on innovation. Remember, you must change something about it. You must make an improvement for us to talk about innovation. So Kiru Elijah is asking, can an innovation qualify to be called if it fails? Well, at the point you thought it was an innovation, but if ultimately it does not see the light of day in terms of utilization, then we wonder, was it an innovation? You may have thought it was, but the good question Elijah is asking here is, what is the hallmark or the mark of an innovation? Is it the idea itself? Is it the manifestation of the idea? Or is it the adoption of the idea into practice? I would say it is somewhere along the entire spectrum, because it could be very innovative, but it's not commercially viable. Could be very bright, Dr. Moshere.
Yes.
Comment. And of course, now this is leading into the discussion question for the week, but go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So you remember I mentioned that you keep on, they call it iterative, repetitive process, that you come up with an idea or an innovation, and then and we're talking about a commercially viable idea here, which will bring us profit, because we are in the time when we need to make money for what we create so that we can profit. If that is your aim, then if you fail, that is not the end. I had said that because it means the people did not need what you wanted. So you take, that is a point of now thinking on how to improve on what you had made, because you've gone out and you have taken their feedback and they've told you, yes, this is, it looks like it, but this is not what we want. So you now come back to the drawing board and think of how to improve so that it can meet that need. Because where you innovate is to meet a certain need. And if it's not meeting, it doesn't mean it's an innovation. It's an innovation, yes, in your own respect, but it did not meet the need of those people. So it failed. I'm wondering what you mean by fail, because if fail means you got it to the market and people did not accept it, then it calls for you to start thinking again and improving and trying out until it succeeds. Because if you remember Dr. Liga's journey of innovation, you'll learn that he started way back in 2019, or was it even before 2019? And now it is 2023. If he was not passionate about it, because I believe he launched it somewhere and it didn't take off. Then it gave him impetus to research more, work on that until now. Even some of the innovations have not taken root, or rather they have not taken off. So if failure is not the last thing, because then it means you're giving up. You cannot stop thinking. In other words, keep on thinking. It's not a failure. It's a failure in the market, but not as for you as an innovator. That's what I would say.
All right, thank you so much. And there's a question here from Irene. How does the Kabarak Innovation Hub work with innovators? At the moment, we have a number of things we are doing. Internally, we have a small grant that we award our students and staff. We are also offering this capacity building now to all innovators within and outside the university. And we are also providing a platform for innovators to showcase the innovations at the Central Rift Innovation Week coming up from the 11th of September. Now, first of all, I was very impressed by the idea that James Maina shared about the rice, the fish products, the burgers and everything. And I needed to mention that one of the things we want all of you to consider doing is coming to exhibit at the Central Rift Innovation Week in September. It is a platform for you to showcase your idea and get people interested in your idea, buying your products, investing in your idea. But between now and then, we'll guide you on how, because you fear about your idea getting stolen. How do you present it? And next week, we begin on prototyping. How do you put your idea into some tangible form to be able to showcase to people who don't just want to hear stories in quotes? So this journey, the 10-week journey, should prepare you for that exhibition, and that's why today we're talking about your idea. So we are preparing you for that exhibition. And we'll talk to you a lot about why it's important to come and share, because you get a breakthrough from people, you get to validate your idea, you get to find people who can invest in your idea. A good example from last year was Ugalinyasi, let's call it that way, a team of young students, and they have gone places. And the university is now considering investing in helping them start going commercial. We would not have known them were it not for, my apologies, we would not have known about these innovators had it not been for them coming to showcase at the Central Rift Innovation Week. So in other words, I'm encouraging you to come and showcase at the Central Rift Innovation Week. I lost my chat, Dr. Joyce, but I'd seen 2 comments there. Maybe is there a question?
I can read. There is a comment here. Oh, you are done with how the Kabarak Innovation Hub works with the innovators, all right? So we have James Maina who says, I also think that if the idea fails because no one is interested in it, it could mean that it is not solving any problem or providing any solution. So it is not really an innovation. And then there is Alex who is thanking us for a wonderful session and looking forward to the next session, which is an encouragement. And then James Maina says, I love the idea of exhibiting exhibiting at the expo. I would love to come and exhibit. You're welcome.
All right, so I think we'd like to thank you all very much. Our time is spent. Thank you for coming and staying on. Would love, of course, as usual, to hear all your voices, whether the audio or in the chat and in the discussions that we are doing. We are also learning from this interaction, and everybody else is looking forward to learning from your experience, whatever you consider it to be, good or bad, failure or success. There's a lesson in everything. Do not be shy to share. That is the point of coming here for this. So there's some material on the learning management system and the discussions. Kindly engage and read what others are posting and respond and have discussions. So thank you very much, all of you, for coming in. I'd like to ask a volunteer to close for us with a word of prayer.
We can pray.
Thank you.
Everlasting Father, Lord, in the name of Jesus, we thank you this evening for being together with us and then giving us time to share on this important topic of innovation, my Father, and even what you have learned today, my Father, even turning ideas into viable ventures, my Father, that can be commercialized. Thank you for our facilitators. King of glory, be with them, O God, and that, my Father, we are praying also for all the participants, and my Father, every other person that has made this one possible, that Jehovah, we are looking forward to even another week, and my Father, another progress as you shall provide us. Keep us, and my Father, comp us together in Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good evening.